Okay. Welcome everyone. Awesome to have you guys once again. For everyone people who may be new, uh, once again, you can grab out your phone and you can put in your calendar that these calls this same time, same day each week, and this is where we really dive deep on a lot of the challenges in this entrepreneurial journey. And this is the time of the week where we look in, because many business owners, I'm sure you can see, have the outward focus, right? The very masculine dominated energy of focusing outward and achieving and getting things done. And that's all good stuff. It's just these calls are super important for when you want to balance that and to actually start looking in. And when you start looking in, and a lot of you have been doing a lot of extended meditation and being in silence, you start to realize that you're actually taking action to try to fill a void within yourself, right? You're trying to take action in order to feel enough, in order to feel worthy, right? In order to feel safe, whatever it may be. And that's when it gets really interesting, when you can start to transcend those patterns and start to move forward. But you guys can take some time in using the chat and just type in what it is you do, explain a bit more about your business, explain a bit more if you want to share who we can send your way. If you're looking for any type of collaboration, any type of ideal client you have in mind, definitely do that, and recognize everyone else's chat, and feel free to reach out to them and build that connection. And I'll create a post in the group after this. I'll create a post in the group that'll give you the opportunity to share your business there as well, so that when you comment on that post, people will be able to see who was on this call, and we'll be able to see who it is you can start to collaborate with and start to get to know, because that's all really your business needs is consistently building those relationships, consistently doing it from a place of service, and consistently being in a space of being creative with your collaborations, with your resourcefulness, and all those different things. I know Robbie's got a good, awesome podcast, and it's always really cool to just see how you can leverage those relationships. It's really cool. So we can get started with just looking inward. So if you all just take a moment, you might want to just breathe deep. And as always, just feel your body for a moment. Just feel your body. Notice all the vibrations, sensations. You might feel some areas of tension or areas of relaxation, whatever it may be. Just feel, just breathe. And when you sit down and you actually breathe, you might start to notice the patterns. You start to notice the patterns of the past. It might be today, it might be earlier this week. The patterns of when you're trying to achieve a certain outcome or trying to change your circumstance in order to feel different, right? Or when you sit in silence, you may catch yourself with the pattern of, I need to take this action, I need to do this, right? Because if I don't, I won't feel worthy. I need to achieve that result in order to feel enough. Right, and I'll remind everyone, whenever you have patterns of fear, patterns of doubt, patterns of frustration, right, it's always an internal 5-year-old that's coming up to the surface. Right, it's an internal pattern that you've developed, most likely that you developed when you're really young, when you developed a particular belief that said, I need to be this way and my life needs to be this way in order to be enough, right? In order to feel safe, in order to feel worthy. Because as children, if we're not loved, if we don't get that attention and that love, unconsciously we know we may die. And that's why when we have a particular obstacle, a particular challenge in our business, it kicks in the fight flight response, right? Which makes no sense logically, but it's hardwired in our DNA, in our biochemistry, that if I don't achieve this, if I don't succeed here, if I don't change my life in this way, if I don't make this amount of money or get this amount of clients, or if I don't grow my social media in this way, or if my post doesn't get this much engagement, it's going to trigger that pattern that says, I'm not achieving, my life isn't the way I think it should be, and therefore I don't feel enough. And when you breathe, when you sit in silence, when you do your meditation, these are the patterns that come up, right? I know this is a reminder for everyone, but this is the work. This is the key. And I explain it because I need to remember it myself. Every day I explain this to myself. And so this is a key piece, is just to recognize what patterns are coming up. And then when you sit in silence and when you breathe and when you bring yourself back to this present moment, you realize that these areas of frustration, doubt, and fear are coming up so they can come out. They're coming to your conscious awareness so they can be released. Right? A lot of you love to use the analogy of the 5-year-old. Just imagine when you have fear, when you have doubt, when you have this frustration. Right now, if you can feel like my life needs to change in order for me to feel how I want to feel, imagine that 5-year-old on your lap. And as you breathe, just imagine that 5-year-old on your lap and provide them unconditional love. Because you have a particular 5-year-old that lives within you that has a pattern that says, my life needs to be that way in order for me to feel how I want to feel, in order for me to feel enough or safe or worthy or successful. Right? So breathing with it and actually providing unconditional love for this 5-year-old is what the world needs right now. What most people do is they feel that fear of the 5-year-old and they go out and try and achieve to make the 5-year-old feel enough. Right? They try and make their 5-year-old, they try and achieve more money, more clients, more impact, whatever it may be, so the 5-year-old will feel enough and safe. Which a lot of us are starting to find, even if we achieve, it doesn't make us feel a certain way, right? Even if we achieve, it doesn't make us feel that way because we haven't looked at the 5-year-old, we haven't given that 5-year-old the unconditional love they need. So the consciousness of the planet, the consciousness of where you're at right now, it's now in your expansion to sit down and actually stop taking action for a moment and look at the 5-year-old that was driving your action, looking at the 5-year-old and providing unconditional love for that inner child that is scared, right? That's scared, that feels unworthy, that feels unsafe. And what many of you are now finding is that when you do that, you actually provide so much resourcefulness, so much love, so much creativity, so much flow that the action taken from that place is now guided, right? It's now guided. It's now from a higher place where now things just start to happen, right? Things just start to fall into place and things just happen in flow. And if that feels in your expansion now, rather than the hard work and hustle and strategy and doing things the right way, then I would highly encourage you try to really push yourself and extend yourself in your meditation and go past what feels comfortable. Because when you go past what feels comfortable, especially if you're sitting in silence, these patterns will come up, these patterns will emerge. And it's just a matter of just sitting there and just allowing it to be there and just providing the loving, safe space for it. So I know a lot of you are starting to type in the chat box. Keep doing that if you like. We have Jeremy as well. Those who are new, make sure your chat is set to all panelists and attendees. And feel free to share a bit about your business and a bit about you and if we can send anyone your way. So who has been doing this work? I know Barbara sent me an email, a message the other day. like she just said, she had a breakdown, a meltdown over frustration and doubt. And she just messaged me saying she just allowed it, right? If you want to come on, Barbara, and you want to share a bit more about your experience, and feel free to let me know. If anyone wants to do some live coaching as well, we can do that as well. We can just type in one in the chat box if you want to come on and do some live coaching. But I'd love to have Barbara on if I have my headphones. So yeah, it'd be awesome, Barbara, to explain a bit more about your meltdown and what happened, because a lot of people are having meltdowns. If you're here and your mind's running crazy, and your emotions of uncertainty and doubt and worry about business, finances, relationships, whatever it may be, it is always beneficial to hear someone else's story of what happened and how they overcame it, and definitely how they worked through it, because that's the key. You will relate it to your own life, and it's really, really cool. Barbara's been doing these calls for a long time now, and she's been in the community for a while, and she's just the absolute master. So let me plug this in, and we'll get Barbara on, see what her insights are. Maybe she can add something here that I might have missed. Where are you, Barbara? Hello. Now, can I hear you? I can't hear you. Can everyone else hear her? Oh, here we go. Now I can hear you. I think. I don't think I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. I'm assuming you guys can all still hear me. It's just Barbara can't hear me. Unmute and click on the speaker. Okay, maybe we can share some other way. Maybe we can we'll do a live or something in the group, because it's really cool to hear other people's stories, and really cool to do that. Maybe I might invite you back. We'll see what we can do here. No, that's okay. Everything happens for a reason, hey? I'll change your role to attendee, and we'll see what we can do again. Maybe you can try something new. I see a few of you are doing some connections here. Awesome. DJs hooking up with Robbie. Awesome, guys. Make sure you reach out, say hi, build a connection. We're all here to help, and we're all here to serve from a place of love, a place of resourcefulness, a place of kindness as well. So if you guys are struggling to add some links and stuff, actually, I might post now. While we might get Barbara back on, I'll post I'll make a post in the group now, so that you guys can add your links and stuff like that. That might be easier. And then we'll try and get Barbara back on as well. All right. So I'll post. Awesome group coaching call. Feel free to share your business below. on who you're looking to connect with. This is cool. Man, thanks for the engagement, guys. This is awesome. So I think it's posted. Cool. So it looks like this, guys. So feel free to share your links. So go to Connect, Contribute, Collaborate, the Facebook group, and share your links and stuff in there. So let's see if Barbara, maybe she's logging back in. Let's try again, Barbara.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Ah, I
Magic.
had to totally log out and come back in again.
That's the magic, eh? The magic of Zoom, the good old reset.
Magic of Zoom. Had to reset. This morning I was on a thing and I was the host of the chat. It kicked me out, left everybody else on. I had to totally go and come back.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Oh, brother. So,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
So I'm doing very well. So this is Barbara, everyone who don't know. She's basically the happiness queen, helping people get happiness back.
Happiness. Get your happy back.
And so give us an idea of what your meltdown was all about and what that was like.
Well, you know, it was one of those of 2 to 3 days of doing. And because I've been doing this week, so many things have come to me that were just absolutely amazing, of like being interviewed and doing interviews. And Sunday I did a presentation that was very well received and just all about, you know, just helping people. And then I had a couple of things and I came off the last, and I don't even remember exactly what it was. It was like, I have got to stop. I came off of it and absolutely came off of it. And the tears were just rolling down my face and went, okay, I'm obviously doing too much. And I sat down and just sat with it. And it took so long. I was just bawling. Overwhelmed. I think I wrote to you. It was overwhelmed. It was the doubt that, like, I'm doing all these great things, but why aren't I seeing it in the money coming in? You know? And just all the people were asking me to do all these things, and that was great. And it was just that overwhelm of, Barbara, what are you doing to take care of you, the inner child in you? And I just absolutely melted down. I don't, and right at that moment, I couldn't even tell you what was the final straw, but it was a final straw. But before learning you and this work, I would have just said, oh, for heaven's sakes, Barbara, just pick yourself up. And because I am an emotion stuffer, have been all my life, an emotion stuffer. And then I would, all of a sudden, it would just explode in anger. This was like, Barbara, you got to take care of yourself, that inner child. Something is causing this. And so then I did a visualization where I do it often, of like that I'm carrying all these rocks on my back. Okay, so now how I want to get rid of the rocks. So then I'll put them in a hot air balloon and they fly away. This time it was like I was the 5-year-old was trying to carry the rocks. I came along to help the 5-year-old take the rocks, and we couldn't there were so many of them, we couldn't get the balloon off the ground. So it went sideways and fell off a cliff. And as it was tumbling down the cliff, all my rocks were flying. Then I couldn't see which rocks were mine anymore. So I just said, okay, I've got to let those rocks go. And then the balloon flew away. The funny part was, and then I wrote to you that I had just had this meltdown.
Yeah.
It was probably about 40 minutes that I just had this meltdown. And it was so funny because then I was listening to the radio and a song came on the radio and it said, remind me to take my hands off of my life and the way that it should go. And it was like, oh, brother, that's what God was trying to tell me. Take my hands off my life. And the universe knows what I need. And after that, it was like, oh, and today more good things happened. Got my, I'm doing a program. I'm creating a program for parents to be able to talk to their children, their teenagers. And I'm just so excited. And I think I'm going to call it the ABCs of happiness, how to achieve better communication with your teenagers.
Cool.
So it is just like, and it's just kind of like, oh, all falling into place. So I'm also, one of the things, if anybody is a parent of a teenager, I'm looking to do some market research.
Awesome.
So if anybody is teenager, have teenagers, like 12 to 20 or, even into college. So I'm going to create a course for how to communicate with them.
DJ's got 2.
Send me your private message me.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little market research.
So DJ, your chat set to all panelists. So Barbara and I can see. Just make sure it's set to all panelists and attendees when talking to others. Yeah, that's cool. So all of us, who here can relate to that? Who here can relate to taking so much action day in, day out, and then all of a sudden having this huge emotional overwhelm and doubt, right? Where we just start to be in the space of, man, what am I doing here, right? And then
that was exactly it.
If we're in the consciousness of the achiever phase, the default is probably take more action. Oh, I have doubt, just take more action, or find more of the right strategy, right? And then if you can do that, then all of a sudden this doubt will go away. And then as soon as I get the results, then I'll start to feel better, right? And that's really in a space where we can really be there, where we can just be like, you know what, I'm just going to sit with this. There's a side of me that's freaking out. There's a side of me that needs to be seen, needs to be loved. And the cool thing is, the more you do this deep inner work, the more those emotional patterns will be released. They'll come to your conscious awareness where you'll consciously feel them, but they'll also release when you surrender, when you absolutely surrender. So Barbara, let me ask you this. Which side of you, which 5-year-old did you have to start loving unconditionally so that could be released?
The one that's like, all of these good things are coming together, and me, the doubting part of me that, who am I to do all these fun things?
Okay, yeah.
That why should they listen to me? So yeah, it was yeah. And so who am I? Why should just because, and I think probably because I don't have a college education, but I've lived it, and is living it. That thing is that is personal experience enough, and is it enough that I've done it? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that comes up so much for everyone in terms of, who am I to be doing this? And not only who am I to be doing this, but then another pattern comes up that says, if this is too much fun, then then I'm not doing enough work. For example, we separate work from fun. And I think being in fun is the work. But we have this mentality, especially entrepreneurs and business owners, especially those who have an overdeveloped masculine, definitely be in a space of, I feel like I'm worthy if I've had a hard day, if I've had a hard work day and I've put my head down and I've done all the hustling and grinding, then I feel like I'm worthy. I feel like I'm now worthy of results. right? And that can be in
Right.
people's expansion as well. Like we say all the time, if people are going from a victim mentality into an achiever mentality, it may be in your expansion to hard work and hustle. That can be a key piece of your growth as well. Everything is found in balance, and everything has a purpose. But what you're finding is that you have to sit back and just allow. And there was a really cool insight you had, which was just let go and let be, right? Just the universe, the divine intelligence knows what's next and knows what's best for me, and just letting that unfold the way it's meant to.
And I think what happened too is partway into it, when I first started to, like, the overwhelm was like, and it was like the tears and everything. And as I was sitting with it, it was like, okay, you know, and I started to, you know, calm down. And then it was like, okay, well, you should go do, it's like, yeah, no, this is still here. It was like on my chest. It was just like an absolute weight on my chest. And I said, I am not moving from this until this chest, like up here, I was, oh, okay, now you're feeling better. So now you're okay.
Yeah.
But down here, I was still feeling it. And it's like, that's why I think I sat for probably at least 45 minutes.
Wow.
And it finally, and then it was like, okay, just like, okay, Barbara, you're okay. You know, you're just in all the, and then got rid of the rocks, and then they fell off the side of the cliff.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. And I think that's a really cool visualization, because we are all hot air balloons. We naturally move up. We are naturally evolving. We are naturally, the universe and whatever you want to call it, God, the Tao. How many times am I going to mention the Tao Te Ching this week? Hey, it's every week. But it's like we are hot air balloons, and naturally, when we just allow things to happen, when we just sit in surrender, we will naturally evolve. We will naturally move up. Things will naturally happen, especially if you surrender, especially if you're just open to, open to that, open to the guidance will come through you, and the universe, or whatever you want to call it, will respond to what you feel internally. And that's what I feel is a huge shift, not only for you, Barbara, but for everyone on this call, is and especially myself, is being in a space of just allowing, right? And so many times I catch myself in terms of my business, and I'm trying to force results, right? So with these calls, or with certain projects I'm working on, or with certain, certain invites I've had, or with the podcast, whatever it may be, I'm like, I catch myself trying to force results. And then I just need to look and see there's a 5-year-old within me that says, I need that result in order to feel enough. And like you found, actually crazy things start happening when you actually just sit back and just let it be. Because like they say in the Tao, it's like, you just basically need to not do anything. And when you not do anything, you'll leave nothing undone. If you don't know what to do, don't do anything. Right?
Tyson, thank you. Because the other morning I got up, and I've now learned to, in the morning, as I'm sitting in my silence, and I will sit there and say, okay, you know, what do I need to be doing? Just, is there something that is inspired that, and lots of times something comes up, and afterwards I go and do it. The other morning, it was like, absolutely, there was nothing there. And I went, okay. I sat, I crocheted.
Nice.
I read, and it was like so nice. I read my book, and it was just so nice. And then afterwards it was like, oh, Barbara, and go and do da 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 da, and got whole bunches of things done. It was great.
Yeah.
So that's one piece I've learned.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what was it like to feel the overwhelm and to not do anything with it?
For the first few minutes, I was so overwhelmed that I was just crying in the tears, and I felt like I was just falling apart.
Yeah.
But once that first started to calm down, then it was like, Barbara, you should be, like, came out, Barb, get up, you go do, go, and to get back up again. And then that was when I had to really concentrate on, Barbara, no, you have to release this. There is something going on here. And that was tough.
Yes.
Because my first instinct was to just, oh, Barbara, you're feeling better, get up and go.
Yeah.
And because I'm an emotion stuffer. And that was like, and then to sit there for that extra, it was probably a good extra half hour of sitting and just, but that's when the rocks fell off the side of the cliff.
Yeah. Wow.
Until then, I was still carrying the rocks. And heaven knows, I don't know what the rocks were. I don't know what the rocks were.
And what you said just before was key in terms of you felt like you were falling apart, and you just let yourself fall apart.
I did.
You just sat with it. And that's what a lot of people here will be able to take away, is that when you feel like if you feel like your life's falling apart, or like a part of you's falling off, let it do that. It's doing it for a reason, right? It's doing it for your expansion. And like for you, Barbara, sitting down with it would have been uncomfortable, but it also would have felt expansive, right? Yeah. It's like there's a part of me that's here. There's a part of me that needs to be seen. And similar when you wake up and you don't have anything going on, you like have no ideas, nothing's flowing. And you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I feel. I'm just going to do nothing. Yeah. And that's very tough for some people. But you can also feel, when you feel in your body, notice how it also feels expansive. Notice how when you are not taking action, how expansive that feels. Because when you don't take action, you'll be breaking away a pattern. You'll be breaking away a side of you. You'll be breaking away an identity that says, who I am is what I do, right? Who I am is my action. Who I am is what I achieve. Who I am is the results that I get. And when you sit in silence or you sit and not do anything, that side of you breaks away, right? That side of you, and it's uncomfortable because the ego will freak out, because the ego attaches to identity. But what will happen is, like you said, when that side of you breaks away, you'll also get some higher level ideas, higher level guidance, higher level insight, higher levels of guidance from your heart that says, this is part of your path. This is your next step. Rather than trying to take action from a place of fear, a place of scarcity, a place of doubt that says, I need to achieve this in order to feel enough. Now you're taking action because you're like, this is what's flowing through me. Therefore, it doesn't matter about the outcome, right?
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I have really found too, is that now when I do things, I have like with me, one day I was talking, because I try to do a Facebook Live every day. And today I was doing it on compassion. And it was like, you know what, I'm to the point now where, hey, I'm doing it for me. I needed to feel more compassionate for myself. Yes. Yeah. And so it didn't matter if there was, I don't care if nobody watched it. It was like, I was talking to myself. I just happened to be doing it on Facebook Live.
Yeah, that's it. If people build a business from that place, people build a business not from what they can achieve, but what's flowing through here. That's key. That's like, you're unstoppable. Not only are you so resourceful and so loving and so kind and caring, but the universe will respond to that. The universe will respond to what's flowing through here and recognizing you're following your path that you're meant to be on, rather than trying to force something. And when you're in a force, you're in resistance with yourself and with life. And therefore, you'll get these lessons sooner or later. But I mean, it's a matter of, do you want to get them now when you're sitting in silence and you're welcoming them, or do you want to get them when you basically are hit with something that's devastating, where you have to learn these lessons that way?
Can I share one thing I did a week or so ago? I woke up in the morning and I had been doing a Facebook Live all week on just on being compassionate and on confidence and how to handle stress during this COVID thing. And I woke up on the Friday morning, this was going to be my last of the week, and it was like, okay, I'm going to talk about this on stress. And it was like God just put it on my heart that I needed to talk about shame as being part of stress. And I'm like, I'm not Brene Brown. How can I possibly talk about stress? How can I possibly talk about shame? And all morning I resisted it. And then finally at noon hour, it was like, all right, Barbara, just you got to do it. So I did it. Nobody was on with me. I was just talking to, as far as I was concerned, I was talking to blank air. I just happened to be talking about it on Facebook Live. The next morning, and I went back and several people, I got some really nice comments about it. But then I had the impulse to send it to Goldcast. they do all these, make these videos go viral. And I'm like, why would I send it to Goldcast? And it was like, absolutely, I have to do this. And so I did. I took a copy of it and sent it. Now, I with absolutely no attachment to whether they ever do anything with it, because it takes them months to do things with videos. But it was that, it was an absolute, you have got to do this now.
And how many times do you get that? How many times do you get that insight when you're doing this work? You're sitting in silence, when you're sitting in a place of non-resistance, a place of complete surrender, a place of one with life. Those guidance comes through. It says, do this. You know, it'll be very concise. I did a podcast episode on how to tell the difference between your head and your heart. And when you're listening from your heart, like you said, it'll be really exciting. It'll be direct. It'll be very clear. It'll be very concise. You say, like, do this.
Do it now.
And you won't know why. But it'll just say, go and do it. And then you can just release yourself of all the outcomes. And if you build your business from that place, you build your business from a place of flow, right? A place of guidance, a place that's higher level creativity, and where you're in a bigger place of service. So that's awesome. Yeah.
So that was totally from you. It was like you were channeling my head. I said, I can hear Tyson saying, just go do it, Barbara.
If it's what your heart's guiding you towards, you have to take that leap. You really do. You're either going to get the opportunities or the lessons you're meant to learn. And that's key. That's really key. But is there anything else you want to share? Anything else that you think people can? That's everything.
Just to go with it. No matter whether it's that, when I came off of a podcast, a training, and I just absolutely broke down. And it was so intense. I'm like, it was almost as bad as when my husband passed away. It was just that. And I just absolutely broke down, and let the tears flow for however long they flowed. I don't even know. I'm thinking it was, half an hour at least.
Yeah. Wow.
And just to let it. I think that was the biggest thing, to just to let it, just to sit with it.
Wow. So cool. Well, guys, feel free to reach out to Barbara as well. She releases some awesome content, and especially if you've got teenagers, she'd love to ask you some questions for some market research. That's such a cool project to work on. People love becoming better parents and become better conscious parents, and that's a really cool venture.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that a friend of mine, she does suicide prevention, and 3,000 kids try to commit suicide every day.
Wow.
And part of that is because they don't talk to their parents. So that it just really, okay, Barbara, this is what God's calling me to do. Is to address, and because I have such an easy tool to let them see what their personality is and how to talk, and give them tips on how to talk to them. So it was like, ooh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. That was really cool. Yeah, that's always good just to not have me discussing things, but also have some other people just to share their experience. Thanks so much, Barbara.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Awesome. I'll make sure to put you back in the group. There we go. And that's such a cool, it's such a cool reminder, right? When you do this work, you'll get guidance from here towards your path. A lot of you guys are starting to reach out to me in terms of wanting more guidance around your calling, around your heart, around what it is you're here to do. I believe you have to sit in silence and you have to do the deep inner work of transcending these patterns so you can get that clarity. It's very, very hard to get that clarity on what you're here to do in your heart's guidance when you're in your egoic patterns, right? The egoic patterns of more is better, the egoic patterns of I need to do this to feel a certain way, right? I need money to feel safe. I need to do my job to feel enough. when you're in those patterns, it's very, very hard to hear that guidance from your heart, right? To hear that guidance from what's happening and what you're here to do. But the more you follow that, the more you follow what's pouring through you and through your heart, the more the world will respond, right? With either the opportunities or either the lessons you're meant to learn. And that's a huge level of expansion. It's now in your expansion to do that, especially if you're on this call, especially if you're learning this type of work. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions that come up for you guys around that. And I'm definitely more than happy to be there if you guys want to do some more coaching, that sort of thing. So plenty of you are sharing your business and connecting and stuff like that. That's awesome. Everyone that's on here, I believe, is in the Facebook group, Connect, Contribute, Collaborate. So make sure you comment on that post, or at least see who's commenting on there, so that you can all connect with each other, add each other as friends, organize these collaborations and joint ventures as well. Because I've been explaining this a lot, but so much of business building these days is built off your egoic patterns, which is awesome, right? It was in people's expansion, but it doesn't seem to be anymore. And you can feel that in your heart, right? So for example, feel what it feels like in your body when you do a random act of kindness. I explained this in a podcast episode recently. And that was that when I used to work at a restaurant, some of the best shifts I had was when I paid for another person's meal. Like I would pay for a table's meal. It was a la carte dining, so it was generally between like $70 and $150. But I had the best shifts when I had a table come in of a family and they were so loving or so present or so kind, or they just resonated with me. And I just went and I would pay for their meal, and I wouldn't tell them. And then when they came up to pay, I would say, another staff member was doing a random act of kindness before they left for their shift, and they must have paid for your table. You guys can just leave. And they were blown away, right? That never happens to people, but I had the best shifts whenever I did that, right? And that's because I was doing a random act of kindness from a place of just doing it for not recognition, but because that's who I am. And as Lao Tzu says, when you go back to your true nature, that's when you're at one with life. Your true nature, underneath all of the patterns, is one of love, it's one of kindness, it's gentleness, and it's service. Right? They're like the 4 virtues that he talks about all of the time. That's what the Tao Te Ching's all about. And so I'm looking at building more platforms like this and other avenues for people to work in your true nature and your true virtues into business building. I don't feel like right now the marketplace, the general marketplace, is not set up for that. It's not set up for that type of love and kindness and service. But I'm looking to build more and more platforms in order for us to come from that place. Because you're all doing the inner work, you're all creating these shifts, and that's what pours out of you anyway. What pours out of you when you do this, like what Barbara said, what pours out of you is more love, more kindness, right? More gentleness with life. And when I say gentleness, it's more of flexibility and just allowing, right? Just allowing, being in a place of surrender, and then coming from a place of service and coming from a place of serving because it's in your nature to contribute. It's in your nature to help. It's in your nature to serve. That's why it feels so good in your body when you do it, right? Think about what's possible for your business and any aspect of your life when you feel that day in, day out, when you come from the place of serving because it's your nature, because it feels so good, right? Because it's you being one with yourself and therefore one with life, rather than trying to build your business for what you can get, right? Which is egoic. Ironically, if you're in this space, you will actually attract and achieve more when you come from that place than if you try to get a particular result, if this is in your expansion. And so when you're connecting here with everyone, when you comment on the post and you start to add a lot of these guys to your network, come from a place of service without anything, without asking for anything in return, right? Without saying, oh, I'll help him here so I can get this, or I can help him here, but they better do this. Just come from a place of service, because that's who you are. That's your true core nature. That's your true core virtue. And that's why it feels so good, right? I just connected one of my friends. I just connected her this morning with probably about 4 podcast hosts, right? Because she's an awesome coach. And I just connected her with about 4 podcast hosts, just because I love connecting people. And I don't expect anything in return, right? I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it because this is what's pouring out of me, what feels aligned for me. It just so happens that when you release yourself from all of the outcomes and what you get in return, it's just life will respond. Life will just offer you more opportunities and more abundance, because you're safe. You're now safe, right? You are now safe to achieve. You're safe to receive as well. So that's my guidance for you guys. That's what's flowing through me at the moment. And always just take a breath before you if you really want to come from like what now is described as 5D, a really higher level of consciousness, before you connect with someone and before you help them, see yourself in them. See yourself in them. Recognize that we're all one. Recognize we're all one unity consciousness, and just see yourself in them. And so when you help them, you're actually helping yourself. I do this all the time now, more and more. It's just when I reach out to you guys, when I coach, when I help, it's almost like I'm helping myself, because I see myself in you. I see myself in everyone I contact. And you just come from a real place of love, real place of service, right? And it's a real key aspect, real key place where you can start building your business from a way more conscious place than just the classics of marketing and sales and all those different things. They're all in purpose, right? They all have their place. But this is, if you feel this is in your expansion, then this is a key exercise. But does anyone have any questions before we finish up? Anyone have any questions at all? Looks like it's probably been like the most engaged group we've ever had. Everyone's sharing their bunch of their business and everything like that. That's really, really cool. As you can see, everyone who's on here is in the group, and therefore you're open to collaborating. You're open to expanding your network. So there's a few ways of reaching out and being of service, right? Whether you want to do a service exchange, whether you want to collaborate in some way, but also look at your network and see who you can send their way. This is really, really cool, where you can just be like for example, so Illy, for example, she just messaged and like if she's in the health and fitness space, right? So she loves health and fitness. I can always connect her with people who have a platform like a podcast or something like that, where it'd be an awesome fit. Or I can connect her with people in my network who might be a good fit. Or we can do some service exchange of some point where I could help her with my type of expertise. She could help me with her expertise, right? We could leverage our platforms and share our content, right? So many creative ways. You'll come up with more creative ways when you're in your heart than I could ever explain here on the call, right? Trust your guidance, trust your space of really being in a place of service, and just come from love. Trust me, the world will respond. The world will respond. So Illy's saying, Barbara, I have 2 teenage sons. Reach out to Barbara, reach out to Illy. That's cool. That's a cool way. So Barbara came on here, added some value, and she let us know who we can send her way, right? Might even help her for research. Even if you have older kids, maybe you can ask some questions about what it was like when they were teenagers, right? Plenty of ways to serve, plenty of ways to help. Send her people that have teenage kids, right? Even if you don't have teenage kids, send her some people that have teenage kids, right? There's so many creative ways. Once you get expansive, see you in her, right? See you in who you're connecting, and come from a place of love and just be from that space. I'm looking, like I said, I'm looking to create more and more platforms where people can come from these places where you can live your virtues and you can actually build your place, your business from a place of consciousness, of love, of kindness, of gentleness, of one of service. And I'm really, really keen to see where we can take this. But this has been an awesome, awesome call. Absolute pleasure to be here with you guys. Absolute pleasure. And yeah, feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out and see if you can, if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out if you want to do something with me as well. I'm always looking for more interviews. Always looking to jump on and have, whether it's in someone's group or do some live coaching, those sort of things, and also in a space of connecting you guys with ideal clients as well and leveraging my network. So feel free to reach out and say hi. Other than that, once again, thank you, Barbara. Once again, guys, in the Connect, Contribute, Collaborate group, I've created the post. I've created the post where you can share your business and share your links and let us know. Let us know this is what it looks like. If you can see that, if it's not too blurry, but jump on in the group there and let people know your business and who we can send your way. And that'll get off to a really good start of connecting you guys. So thank you so much. I'll be seeing you guys around. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week.